day and good deeds. Welcome to the We Do Good podcast. I'm your host, Charles Dame. Thanks for joining us today. Today I'm joined, and I have the honor of being joined by Captain Evan Lowe, was a distinguished U.S. Army Field Artillery Officer, so he's a cannon cocker. And he's currently the commander of the Jupiter Army Recruiting Company. He is now a Army marketing officer, which is really awesome. We got a lot to talk about in that world. And then Captain Lowe brings nearly a decade of military experience, including combat leadership and a pivotal role in revitalizing the Army recruitment efforts across the area here in Florida. He's done an amazing job. I've watched him over the last 4 years. You've done an incredible job, Evan. It's really been great. Kevin also, beyond that, he has serves as the Vice President of Communication for the University of Florida Association of Military Alumni, demonstrating his commitment to community and engagement and mentorship. Captain Lowe's innovative approach to recruitment has contributed to the U.S. Army's meeting its 2024 fiscal year recruiting goal. That's really, Evan, that's a huge, significant achievement. Super happy to have you here today, and welcome to the We Do Good podcast.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That was an amazing introduction. I'm just glad to be here and chop it up with you.
Absolutely, motivator. We're gonna crush it. So a little bit we're gonna do. We'll talk about some different things. Right now, I want to talk about like your military career, some of your recruitment things that you've done. So Captain Lowe, could you share with us a journey from a field artillery officer to leading the Jupiter Army Recruiting Company? And then what inspired you to make this transition from being a cannon cocker to bringing in America's finest into the U.S. Army?
Yeah, so started my career. I was an Army ROTC guy going through college, and I saw the artillery videos, talked to people out there. I was just like, wow, I want to drop bombs, shoot cannons, do all the cool stuff, right? So that was my branch of choice. I was happy when I got it. And then, did the whole go to basic officer leadership course. Went to Louisiana at now Fort Johnson, where I did my lieutenant time. I went to Iraq, went to Syria, got to be involved with some great people there. Worked multiple jobs from being a fire direction officer.
This is me over fire for effect, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Just making sure the guns are pointed the right way to hit that target 20 miles away.
Absolutely.
And then I got to be a fire support officer and infantry platoon leader later in that deployment. So great experience there. Really got what felt like 3 different deployments all in that 9-10 month span. From there, I promoted to captain and went back to the homeland over in Fort Sill. I did the first part of my captain years in Fort Campbell, where I was with the 101st Cab, and with 3rd Brigade, where I did my command time. So I had a headquarters battery, 275 people, $108 million property book. Busy time, very hectic time. Loved it there. But when the time came that I had to pick my next job, I wanted to command. I wanted to continue leading soldiers and serving my country, and just seeing the growth of the young soldiers and non-commissioned officers. And I found a role where I would be able to better work in my time with not just raising up soldiers, but raising up a family. I had 2 young daughters. I was a single dad at the time.
Man, family's important. It's tough to adjust in the military with family.
It definitely is. Brother. And this job has been every bit of what I've needed in my career, what my family's needed, and I think that in the past 2-3 years we've done a pretty good job at recruiting too. So
good job. I would say you've done better than a good job. You've done an amazing job, right? So the U.S. Army recently met its 2024 recruiting goals, which previously it had shortfalls on, and you have helped make that a huge difference here in the local area. Share some of the strategies, right? I know you're getting ready to end your command and you're moving on and you have a new commander coming in. So what are some of the strategies you could share with him and other recruiters in the area to keep that motivation going into our armed forces?
Yeah, and I'll be the first to say that it's never a one-person task. I have excellent NCOs, excellent recruiters, station commanders, an awesome first sergeant, all the way up to battalion, brigade, division command. So it's easy to look at people and give the credit, but honestly, it is a full team effort. We've done a really good job of highlighting our superstars and making sure that everybody stays on glide path. So it's been a wonderful experience here. Um, I know passing it off to the incoming commander, Will Huff, he's going to do just a phenomenal job. He's got a lot of groundwork to really
Commander Huff. Let's
yeah,
go.
he's an awesome guy. He and I go way back to about 2019, so it's always good seeing a familiar face. The Army's small; people don't think about it that way, but you
Yeah, the
find
military is small. Yeah,
yeah, you'll find those
absolutely.
people, and you'll remember them whether it was good or bad. And I remember nothing but good things about Will. He came here, and he definitely the reputation preceded him. So excited about that, and there's no magic sauce to it, right? If you're doing the right thing and you are just getting after the mission every day, you understand the fundamentals, and we really break it down into three phases. Prospecting, you go out and you find civilians who are interested in serve the country. You process, there's paperwork that comes with getting into the military, make sure that we're doing that correctly and doing it expeditiously so that the people at the
Got to dot the I's and cross the
oh
T's,
yeah,
right?
yep, and we have to work with MEPS, the medical entrance processing center, and make sure that we do our job well so that we can do their job well. And then it's future soldier management. So you raise your right hand, you swear to support and defend the Constitution. We have to make sure that we keep that commitment engendered all the way until your ship date. Right now, it's looking 2-3 months till ship, which is a good problem to have. We have so many people that are ready to go and serve our country that some people have to wait a little bit longer now, but again, everybody's got problems. We have good problems down here in South Florida. So
Yeah, you guys have done an amazing job. One of the other things you've done a really good job at is community outreach. I can say that personally, We Do Good has appreciated the support that the U.S. Army, through your leadership, has helped give it. What would you say on the ideas of how these initiatives have impacted recruitment to the community as far as your relationships with your outreach to the community and how that's impacted your recruiting and your ability to recruit?
yeah, I mean everything's about relationships, and that's one thing that when I came to the seat, I knew that I would be a plus for our team for just getting out, knowing people, and seeing how we can have a mutually beneficial relationship. It's not you give me things that I want. It's how are we also able to provide different things. We've done a lot of work with multiple organizations just throughout the area. And again, it's a true give and take, whether it's working with the VA down in West Palm Beach or Texas Roadhouse or um, some of the minor league baseball teams that are out here.
What did you guys do exactly with Texas Roadhouse?
So we hosted a company training. We do that about every month just to make sure that we're up to date on all regulations, make sure that if there's any holes in our game that we're addressing those. And we just did one at the Texas Roadhouse. One of the engagement leaders reached out to us and friends with the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund, who we work closely with, and yeah, they just
Mike Durkee, that I've
yep.
met that dude like one or two times. He's a good cat, trying to keep guys smiling, right?
Oh yeah,
and really understands the mission of veterans after they're out. That's for sure.
absolutely. The person I took command from, Sammy Firkins, he had a list of 2 people I had to meet before I took command, and Mike was on that list. So we've continued to develop that relationship, and watching WVRF from where I first met them to where they are now. I mean, they're growing and expanding, and they're crushing it.
Yeah, they absolutely are. So with the rise of social media platforms, like part of like what we're doing right here, right? We got a podcast going. We're going to put this out on the social media platforms. How has digital engagement influenced you and your recruiting strategies?
Yeah, so digital influence, we all have miniature computers in our pockets now. And
Yes, we do.
that 18 to 24-year-old spot, you see a lot of them with their face buried in phones. So, how do we get in front of them? You have infinite knowledge at your fingertips, but that doesn't necessarily know where to look. So how do I engage? How do I gain interest? I can tell you for the most informed generation, there's a lot of things people don't know about the Army. I'm still learning things about the Army recruiting process, and I've been in this job for going on 2-3 years now, and it's constantly changing. The programs, the initiatives, the bonuses. I mean, I could go on all day about the things that I didn't know as an 18-year-old, and I know these kids don't either. So it's our job to
I
inform
can tell
them.
you in the Marine Corps, I had no idea what a bonus was.
Yep.
That's I don't know if they're even offering those things now in
Yeah.
the Marine Corps.
Yeah, and, as much as I'm a Army through and through. The Marine Corps did a great job recruiting this year too. They met the Marine Corps mission for last year.
Hoorah, Devil Dogs out there. Let's
Yeah,
go.
they did. They did a great
Let's go,
job.
Marine Corps recruiters.
There's enough There's enough food for everybody to eat. It's just, it's our job to go out and educate. Both my parents were teachers, so I tell principals and other people all the time, I'm not trying to poach your kids. This is an all volunteer force. I just want to educate them on the opportunities available. Because when I was in high school, I left in 2011 to go to college. We were in the middle of the surge. I never saw a recruiter. I know that if someone came into my life, I would have probably made a transition into the military even sooner. So I just want to be able to give kids those educational opportunities that I didn't necessarily receive. And, life happens for a reason. Everything does. And I love where I'm at right now.
Absolutely.
But, if it's my job just to let you know what's on the table for you. And if you want it, come on into the office. Let's talk.
Let's get it,
Yeah.
right? Let's get some. So, kind of transitioning, switching gears here. Let's talk a little bit about family and service, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have my own stories of family and service and the way that it treated me and my family. But balancing life and balancing a military career, that's probably one of the most challenging things that we that serve our country go through. During that time and during the times you've had now, how would you say what are some of the things you could give, examples or ways you could give advice to guys that are currently serving and how to deal with that service and then being there for their family too?
Yeah, and this is a topic that I've sought advice for. I went through a period of my life as a single father, and it is challenging.
Yeah,
Especially
we
in
both
leadership.
share that in common. I
Yep.
was a single dad while I was in service. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially with soldiers, Marines, sailors that you're in charge of too. You've got your biological children, and then in my case with an HHB, I had 275 professional children that I also had. So, the best advice I got was from a former battalion commander. He told me that giving time to your family is never going to be a one-for-one swap. It has to be in moments. There's going to be times that you're needed to be in the field, and if you're in the field for 5 days, I can't just give you a 5-day weekend. But what you can do is you can see lulls in your schedule, and you can take that time and you can make a conscious effort to prioritize, whether that be block leaves, whether it's garrison cycle tasks, whether it's going to recruiting command, going to drill command. There are different avenues for you to have prolonged stretches. Sure, you might go to JRTC, for example, and you'll be gone for a month. Doesn't mean you get a month off right away, but there's times that you can preemptively identify that you'll have available. It's on you as a service member, on your job as a family person to prioritize the things that matter in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
A little different. My first sergeant, when I had some issues, I came walking in with my 2 daughters into his office at about 04 in the morning, and he said, "We didn't issue you those. Where did you get those?"
Yeah, and that is, it's still a running joke. If the Army wanted you to have a family, they'd issue it to you. You have the uniform, and you have the people who hold on to the uniform. And no matter how many years you serve in the Army or the Marine Corps or any branch of service, eventually the uniform's going to come off. And what you leave with the uniform behind is kind of what you reap. So if you prioritize your family, if you prioritize different things in your life, that's what's going to remain with you. Now, whether you do 4 years, 20 years, if you become the next chief of staff of the Army, eventually you're going to hang up that uniform. So what have you done to increase the profits of your personal life to make sure that you have something when you do eventually hang it up?
Yeah, that brings me to the next thing I want to talk to you about, which is like, how do you currently instill those values that you have in service and that you've learned from the military, and how do you carry those forward in your family and with your children?
I carry them forward the same way I do in my professional life. I emulate it, and that's what I believe every good leader should do. If you are a good leader, it's not something that you keep at a 9-to-5 base. You need to be a good leader in your family. You need to be a good leader in your community. That shouldn't be something that a persona you put on. That should be who you are. And I think that the service does a great job of instilling that within people. And it's not just a facade we put on when we're in uniform.
No, it's who we are.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Man, that was awesome. So education, philanthropy, different things that I know you've been involved with. Currently, you're pursuing an MBA at a school here in Florida. It's not FAU, which is an amazingly great school, to all those owls out there with me. Yep. What school is it that you're getting that MBA at?
I'll be going to the University of Florida. Go Gators.
Shocker.
And Yeah, I will say I have a lot of partnerships with FAU. So although I am a diehard Gators fan, I have a soft spot for my Owls too. Everybody who I've worked there with, whether it's in the athletics department, in the different colleges on campus, they've been wonderful to us down there in Boca Raton, Palm Beach County. So shout out to them. Much love, but I had to hop on this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So going through this program, all the things you do at Florida as an alumni, this MBA that you're getting, how do you see this MBA complementing, leading, or helping with your current military career and the direction that you have going forward?
So, we talked about the artillery side, and although that is my primary MOS still, so what I technically fall under, I'm also an Army marketing officer. I was picked up for that. In my cohort, 6 of us across the Army were picked up, and I was fortunate to be one of them. So I'm pursuing this MBA to help myself as I transition into the Army Enterprise Marketing Office, otherwise known as AMO. And what they do is they do everything from your major social media engagements, see your be all you can be ad campaigns, whether it's on TV, whether you see an Army stripe on a football field. It's everything from collecting the data to creating the strategy to executing the strategy. And there's less than 100 officers in the Army that do it right now. And with this job in recruiting, that was something I felt like I would be a value proposition towards AMO, and I guess they agreed and said, "Get your MBA and get that the educational experience." So I believe that I have the professional experience. Now I get the official educational side of it. I get it from a top 20 MBA in the country, top 5 public university. I mean, I couldn't be happier with what the Army has provided me for an MBA that whether I stay in for 10 years or 20 years, I walk away with. It has my name on it, not U.S. Army.
That's true.
They're foot in the bill, and yeah, I'll be paid to be a professional student. So just unbelievable opportunity. One of those things I say I learn new things about the Army every day. It's one of those Army opportunities. If you told me 3 years ago, I would have been like, "There's no way that the Army does this for people," but they do. You just got to find those opportunities out there.
That is awesome, and you're like a walking recruiting board, not just for the Army, but for people to go to Florida. So,
Yeah,
so you are a Gator tried and true. You walked in with your Gator cup,
yeah.
your Army stuff on. You were ready to roll. So, out of the different things, I know you're super passionate about the University of Florida. What would you say currently drives or is one of your biggest passions about what you're doing with the university?
Yeah, for me, it was someone who works in the Tampa Armor Recruiting Battalion. He is the founder and president of UFAMA, so the University of Florida Association of Military Alumni. He identified a gap between a academy that really prioritizes service and has a long history of high-level leaders, but there was no sub-community in there. And we're talking about a 50,000 person organization with 500,000 alumni across the globe, but we don't have that small subcomponent and category to celebrate those who kind of fit into both molds. You think about that, the circles where they overlap. You've got your Gators and you've got your military members. There's a lot of people that fall in the middle. So we have a community that we're building and have built for celebrating that.
That's absolutely awesome. Yeah, I know. I know community service is a cornerstone of pretty much all that I've seen you and watched you do over the years we've known each other. Can you share a recent philanthropic project or something along those lines that's really impacted you, that meant something to you that you've done here over the last few years?
Yeah, the main one, kind of going back to WVRF and Mike Durkee, is just seeing going to their gala and seeing the impacts they've made every
He
year.
puts on a show, that's for
Oh
sure.
man, and he always has the OCP jacket. Shout out to Goldfarb for making that.
Dude makes good clothes.
He makes good clothes, and Mike's a walking advertisement for him. So,
Yes, yeah.
no, it's great. And again, just more community partners helping each other out and being there for each other. But watching them grow in an area that, admittedly, I didn't realize was such a gap in our service for veterans. I had no idea the dental crisis and what's not covered and given to our veterans. And maybe that's just my lack of knowledge or whatever it is. I certainly became educated quickly and
Yeah,
got to see them
absolutely. If
grow
you're not
that.
100%
Hmm.
P&T, you're not getting dental.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a crazy thing when you think about the amount of health issues that veterans have, especially over the dental stuff. That can lead to so many other issues with your health,
Mhm.
and it's something that we in the VA they just do not take care of for the veterans. And Durkee's organization has done an amazing job here locally in Florida, helping veterans get that dental care that they need with some really amazing dentists here in the area as well.
Yeah, they definitely have. And like I said, that was a gap in my knowledge, and I would imagine many others that I just didn't know that there was a need for that. And not only do they do a good job of advertising that they're there to help, but just watching that organization grow. I know they have new presidential leadership that came in this year. Um, just really excited to see where they go from there. I'll be out of the South Florida area coming up soon, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some WVRF popping up in North and Central Florida here before too long.
Yeah, there's no telling how far those guys can take that organization. Listen, we got an upcoming Independence Day coming up this year. It's going to be a pretty awesome 4th of July. I used to have some issues shooting off fireworks after my time as an 0331, but now I'm kind of into it. So I like the fact that I'm in Florida. I can go blow a bunch of money at a fireworks store and then just let it rip at my house with my family and neighbors. How do you see your role in military service being honored and communicated over the 4th of July holiday this year?
Yeah, anytime I think about the military themed holidays, whether it's Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, I just think about the history. It To me, it's never been about my units. It's about the history and the legacy and the tradition. And I think being a part of two amazing divisions with originally starting in the 10th Mountain Division, then going to the 101st Airborne Division, you really start to understand that you stand on the shoulders of giants. You get to be honored to be a part of
Absolutely.
that. They make it very clear that you are a part of a much greater cause than yourself. So, admittedly, I never think about anything that I do or have done, but just to be honored to be a part of just a great legacy. And I just hope that I carry it with pride.
Oh, you do, brother. Absolutely, you do. Hey, there's an absolutely huge growing trend of people sharing their stories from the military on social media. How do you view this movement of those of us that are out there that have served or that are in reaching out to social media to? I mean, I've watched it help guys from PTSD to all kinds of other issues, and kind of telling their stories, and it kind of bringing out who they are and helping them heal from those wounds from the fog of war, let's say. How do you see the movement as far as social media and that trend with veterans being involved with it?
Yeah, I mean, we're in a world now where everybody has a voice and everybody can put it online and they can talk about their experience, whether it's good, bad, and different. And I think that's important. So, um, I will tell you as a recruiter, I'll come in with horror stories all the time that, I heard this person say this, that, or the other. Is it true? Is it not? And I can't speak to everybody's experience, right? But it's important that, especially on the recruiting side, that people know what they're getting into. Big thing for me is just be genuine, be honest. If it's for you, it's a volunteer force. I never want to trick, lie, deceive anybody into service, because a volunteer force by nature should be someone who's passionate about what we do. They want to be a part of this. They want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Um, and the best way to know if you really want to be a part of this is to have the maximum amount of information at your fingertips. And you're right, a lot of people are sharing their stories, and um, not everything is going to be a fairy tale. Some people have had some bad stories in the military, and my heart goes out to those people. Some people, they've created bonds for life, and it's been the best thing they've done. So, uh, to say that experiences vary is probably a heavy understatement.
That's for
Especially
sure.
from
But
people that
yeah,
were deploying every year to where we're at now, where you're not really going out to combat zones as frequently or if ever in a career. Um, Experiences vary, but it's important to have an understanding of what you're getting into, and my life could look like this or it could look like that. So I think it's overall a good thing.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the mental health aspect of service, impacts all of us differently, and it definitely impacts us differently based on, what careers we chose in the military, and then what deployments and what we did while we were in. Based on that, I came from the years where there was a lot of stuff going on.
Mhm.
Um, there was a lot of guys, a lot of friends of mine, the 22 movement came out about doing push-ups for those that we lost, because 22 veterans a day take their lives from suicide. You being in the Army, being an officer, knowing what you do, how have you seen the Army begin to deal with that kind of stuff, and how have they helped combat, literally, right, the fog of war and the PTSD that guys come back with?
Yeah, it's a sad reality, and I've had friends who've lost their struggles in that, and I know plenty of people that have had that same experience, and it's hard. Um, but what I'll say is that you have a built-in community. So whether it's somebody who is on the ledge and they need help, or whether it's somebody who, you know, they're still with us and we're able to assist them and support them, you have a built-in community in the military, whether it's down to the smallest team level, or you have your whole division. Like I said, the pride, the bravado.
Hoorah, Marine Corps.
Yeah, you know what? I will give the Marines credit. They've got the sharpest Class A's, and they've got just pride pumping through their veins. Might be Kool-Aid, but it's definitely prideful.
Well, some people think it's melted crayons, but it's definitely not. Definitely not.
It looks like a color red. We'll go with that. Crayons, blood, pride, whatever it is.
Absolutely red for sure.
Yeah, but we combat it, and it's not the mandatory classes. We do suicide prevention, and I think those are important. I'm not saying they're not. However, it's the connections that we have together that can help us through tough times, whether it is a suicidal ideation, whether it's someone going through a serious issue in their personal life, professional life. Life is going to happen.
Family life, right? Yeah, because a lot of times guys come home and or gals come home, and family life isn't the same when they get back. Things have changed, and now it's time to deal with whatever change has been put upon you, and that causes a lot of problems. Absolutely.
Yeah, your family's tough. They will be fine with you stepping out, but then they had to get used to you being gone for a while, and kind of refinding your role in the family is definitely a challenge. It's a common shared thing. But again, that's that community, because you're not the only one going through that. The struggles of that deployment, you had your person to your left and your right that were with you the entire time you were there. They're going to be there for you when you come back home too. And, life has its challenges, but on top of the fact that you probably find someone who's been in a similar situation, even if not, you have someone who will be there for you, whether it's, a buddy, the chaplain, our mental health clinics, something that's been really emphasized. I know when I was in the 101st, we had family life counselors also. So we had multiple different places that you could go to. And if you needed help, you had someone that you could reach out to. So if you want to go to the chaplain, great, you have these other resources, or vice versa. So not dunking on the chaplain corps, don't think that. But yeah, there's just there's been a big emphasis on that, and I think that's great, because now you have multiple avenues to be able to find help.
Yeah, Captain Lowe, your dedication to service, both in the uniform and within the community, exemplifies not only the service, but it exemplifies what I do now with WeDoGood and our organizations to help others, right, doing good deeds. Your efforts in recruitment, education, philanthropy not only strengthen our military, but they also enrich the lives of those in our community. So thank you for sharing your insights, expressing with us today your feelings and your next steps as to where you're going. And thank you for those of you that are out there for joining us today. Remember to be kind, be bold, and do one good deed today. When you get an opportunity, it's always good. My name is Charles Dame. I'm signing off here for the WeDoGood Podcast. Come check us out at WeDoGood.org, the WeDoGood Podcast. Buy some clothes at shop.WeDoGood.org and help us raise some money and do good for our fellow veterans. Good day and good deeds.